Hi students, I wanted to go over revising the social media paper. I'm going over the things that came up the most. And please do read my note. Everybody gets a note. Please read that note. Those are the primary things, issues, I should say, that you need to work on to really boost your grade the most. But please do look at the specific corrections in the body of your paper, because if you want every point back, you really want to pay attention to those as well. But I usually give you the top 3 or 4 things that you really need to work on the most to get you the most points back. Okay, so I'm going to go over the issues that came up the most and try to clarify and explain a little to help you to be successful on your revision. So first of all, introduction. So for this paper, remember when you are doing an argument paper, you need to really focus on the format that I went over on how to do this in the writer's workshop, right? So remember, I always talk about doing this in layers. It's English lasagna, right? So if you are making your lasagna and all you stick in is some tomato sauce and that's it, you throw in your tomato sauce and then you're like, oh, forgot everything else, maybe I'll just throw some noodles in now, and then you put it in. That's probably not going to be the best lasagna ever, right? So you need to get the layers, and you need to get them one layer, the next layer, the next layer. If you're missing one of the ingredients, it might not turn out very well. And the person that's eating it with you might not be able to tell this was supposed to be lasagna. It might be like, well, this is interesting. What is this? So you don't want them to say that about your paper, right? So we've got to get the layers in. So your first layer on your introduction, you must explain the issue. All right, so if you are trying to argue about the issue, but you have not explained the issue, that is super, super, super confusing to the reader. They're trying to, they're not with you. They're not in your head, because when we're writing a paper, very often we've really spent a lot of time thinking about this issue, and then we are really into it. But the reader has not been thinking about the issue. Just kind of picture the reader as a reasonably intelligent person who has not been thinking about this issue very closely like you have, okay? So number 1, you need to take a few sentences, 2 to 3 sentences, and I'm going to put this here to number 1, explain. Explain the issue. So number 1, so explain this dynamic in this case about social media. Explain, especially whatever aspect of it you're going to focus on, explain it. Don't just dive into arguing about it. The reader doesn't even know what you're arguing about, right? So explain the issue. And then next layer, then explain the controversy. Explain, why are people arguing about this issue? Okay, so next, explain the controversy. Okay, so explain the issue, 2 to 3 sentences. You need 2 to 3 sentences to clearly explain the issue. Then you need 2 to 3 sentences to explain the controversy. You're still neutral in this case. The reader needs to clearly understand the issue, and they need to clearly understand both sides. When I say the controversy, I mean both sides, and explain it neutrally so they really understand why people disagree. So don't get in there and just fight the good fight, right? Like, I don't think I'm a boxer, right? But anyway, so you don't get in there and fight the good fight before you're even explaining. You're not even in the ring yet, right? Layers, layers, layers. If you're going to fight the good fight, you have to walk to the ring. You got to prepare. You got to get ready, right? So you're not just in there and, right. So no. Explain the issue. Layers, layers, layers. This is going to be so much more clear. Anytime in argument paper, you've got to do this, right? Explain the issue in 2 to 3 sentences. Explain the controversy in 2 to 3 sentences. Then, next, you are going to transition to the thesis. This is going to be 1 to 2 sentences. What does that mean? You start doing what I call turning the car. You start switching from neutrally explaining the issue to turning into your idea. That means you explain the thesis before the thesis. You explain the ideas in the thesis. You introduce the reader to your point of view. Okay? So you start turning the card to your point of view and you explain. Okay? Then the last one is your thesis. So if you do all that, you have a minimum of 2, 4, 5, 6, minimum of 6 sentences. If you have less than 6 sentences, you have not done your layering. Okay, minimum. It could be 8, could even be 9. Probably not so much more than 10. Okay, but if you have less than 6 sentences, go, whoa, something's missing here. Which layer did I miss, right? And go back and look at the layers. For more specific instructions on this and an example of this, do look at the Writer's Workshop again. If you can't access it through Canvas, just go straight to the YouTube channel, type in Kelly Ryan, and type in like Writer's Workshop social media paper, something like that, and it should come up and take you right there, okay? So, but gotta get your layers in, all right? So, very good, because otherwise it's super confusing for the reader. And the other thing it seems, other than super confusing, is to the reader it seems slapdash. It seems like you didn't spend 10 minutes on this and you're just, and that may not be accurate. You may have spent a lot of thought on it, but it will read like you didn't spend 10 minutes on it. It just feels like you slapped it together and it's just very surface level, right? That is not a college essay. That's like a posting on social media, right? Which is kind of ironic, but we don't want that, right? Because we're doing a college essay. This is a sophomore level college essay. So no slapdash, slap the dash out, right? And jump back in and do your layers, okay? All right, so intro. All right, so the next thing that came up, thesis statement. You must have a clear thesis statement. It is traditionally and very effectively, normally, your last sentence in the essay. I would not go avant-garde here and make it your first sentence. Why would that be? The reader they don't even understand the issue, and you're telling them what you think about it, right? So, I mean, it's totally human because we want to get in there and, say what we want to say. But it's explain. All right, so I would do this in order, right? This is not the time to do dramatic effect here. Okay, we need to be effective. So your thesis statement, topic plus idea. If one of those is missing, something major is missing. Your topic is social media in some form. Your idea is your idea about it. So that may be what you want to happen. That may be a particular focus that you have about it. That may be, an aspect of the positive point about social media you're making, or the negative aspect of social media that you are making, but it has to be clear. Remember, it has to stand on its own. Here's the test. So just pretend like you've written your intro, you've written your thesis, look at your thesis again by itself, look at the topic and the idea, and here's the pretend part. Pretend you were giving this to another student to read. I'm not going to say pre-COVID, I'm going to say post-COVID, because we're going to come back out of this at some point, I hope very soon. And you ask the student do you mind reading over my intro for me and see what you think? And they said, sure. And then the next thing is they read your thesis statement that for some reason they just zeroed down to the bottom, read your thesis statement, and then we had a fire drill. Post-COVID, fire drills, right? Coming back. So we had a fire drill. Everybody had to walk out, and that's all they read. They should know what your whole paper is about from the thesis statement. So read your thesis statement over. If you can't tell by the thesis statement what the whole paper is about, there's something missing, okay? So look at the thesis. It should be super clear. Topic and idea. Got to have both, and it needs to be clear. It can't just be social media is great for everyone. That is vague. Okay, that's another. I'm going to kind of skip a little bit down to this to talk about avoid vague generalities. I don't know if you can see this. It's way at the bottom. I'll just tell you. I'll work my way there. Avoid vague generalities. Vague generalities sound like little slogans. Maybe they're going to be great on a bumper sticker. Maybe they're going to be something on social media, right? That does not belong in your college paper. Avoid vague generalities. What do I mean? Things like that. Social media is great for everyone. Social media is a terrible problem. Well, you've got a topic and you've got an idea, but it's vague, right? It's nothing specific that you are recommending. It's not a specific and focused idea that you are putting forward, right? It is just this, again, it's slapdash. That's my favorite. That's my favorite two words of tonight, or that I'm filming this. Slapdash. No, no slapdash, right? Focused, focus, focus, focus. I have a focused idea that I am putting forward, right? So, and again, for a specific example of that, of a focused thesis statement on this topic, go back to the writer's workshop and view that. All right, very good. But look at your thesis. Most people did really well with the transition words this time. That was really much improved. If you focused on some other things and forgot about that, that's human. We're all learning, and but do put them in. They make a huge difference. Remember, they help to merge the reader into your next point really smoothly and easily. So they're small words and phrases. Sometimes they get overlooked, but overall they went much better this time. But topic sentences. Topic sentences. Again, these are the building blocks of essays. That is my coin of term. I don't think you'll read that anywhere, but they're the building blocks of essays. That's what they are. So if you do not have clear topic sentences, you do not have a real clear focused essay. You have some major problems. So if you're like, well, my essay was pretty good, other than she says my topic sentences were clear, major problem, but major opportunity to revise and get better. So topic sentences, building blocks of essays, one per body paragraph. You need one clear, focused idea per body paragraph, and it has to support the thesis. That is huge. So if you're saying that social media is problematic due to the adverse effect on some users' mental health,